good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever time you're watching me from. I'm Nurse Adeleke. You are welcome to my page. I'm a nurse and a nutritionist. So on this page, we'll be discussing everything related to health and nutrition. So we are starting from the pregnancy. We're discussing the pregnancy week by week. But today we are going to talk about the first trimesters of pregnancy. That is the first 12 weeks. Pregnancy is divided into three. The first trimester, which is the first 12 weeks. The second trimester, which is from week 13 to 27. While the third trimester is from 28 to 40 weeks. So, but today we'll be discussing about the first trimesters of pregnancy, week by week. Week 1 of pregnancy, week 1 and week 2 of pregnancy has not really occurred because pregnancy is being counted right from the last day of the menstrual cycle till the delivery. So the first 2 weeks of pregnancy has not occurred, but the body has started preparing for pregnancy. Ovary began to develop ovum, which is being released and fertilized, while the uterus also is getting ready by becoming thicker and ready for implantation. By week 3, the fertilization takes place after the sexual intercourse. The sperm moves to the fallopian tube where it makes the released ovum and fertilization takes place. So the fertilized ovum, which contains both the genetic material of the man and that of the woman, so become the zygotes. So the zygotes now travel from the fallopian tube to be embedded into the uterus to become the embryo. So then by week 4, the woman will realize that he has missed her period. Some will be having cramping, some will even have just spotting, which is known as implantational bleeding. By week 5 and 6, the heart began to beat. So when you take your first ultrasound this period, you will see the heart. Then the brain and the spinal cord began to develop. That's one of the importance of taking folic acid very early in pregnancy, because folic acid helps to prevent neural tube defects. So we can see that the brain and spinal cord are started forming even sometime before a woman realizes that she or she is pregnant. So preparation for pregnancy is key, and one of the important things that you can do while preparing for pregnancy is to take your folic acid. Then during this 5 and 6 also, the tiny bud that later becomes the arm and the leg began to form. So by week 7 and 8, the facial feature of the baby began to develop. Then the heart continued to beat and continued to form. Then the fingers and the toes also began to form. So by week 9 and 10, there will be a kind of small movements, because the hand and feet will continue to extend and develop. The teeth bulge will begin to form. So, and by week 10, the heart has fully formed. Also, at that week 9, the baby is now called the fetus. It's not called the fetus, that is tiny baby. So this baby continued to grow. So by 11 and 12, the baby began to develop and stretch more. The arm and the legs, the finger that has been formed, they began to separate. The nails began to grow, and also the major organ continues to develop. Then there is also movement at this stage. The baby continues to move, though it might not be perceived or seen by the mother, but the major organ has been fully formed. The foundation has been laid for the organs. So all it remains is just continue growth and development. So these are the things that happen, and the major signs and symptoms of first trimester is missed period, mild cramping, There might be morning sickness, some it might be all the time sickness, either morning, afternoon, or the whole day sickness. Then sometimes it reduces for some people by the end of the 12th week, while for some it continues throughout pregnancy. So that is why they're telling you that no pregnancy is the same. In as much as you can say maybe I've had 2 or 3 children, I know how it used to do me. Sometimes things can change, so never compare any